Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 27 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, the Haemotrope Reactor terrain piece that comes with it, and then the forces of the Imperium and the Necrons will be fighting to control it. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
In this video we're bringing you issue 27 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, with which we got a Haemotrope Reactor, the first terrain piece for our Moon of Tsiphos board. If you want to skip ahead to see that on the battle map, then you can do so using a timecode in the description or chapter bars. We'll have a look at the issue first. First off, we'll actually mention the front cover, which features some artwork of the Silver Templars chapter, which is the one that our models are painted as. The chapter that was created specially for the Conquest magazine, the predecessor of Imperium. Inside we have information about Haemotrope reactors. These are power generators, so they're spread across the Imperium. It even has a battle record. You can give it a designation in Binaric, a description of what it powers, how many wounds it allows you to ignore, which is relevant to its rules, which we'll get at a later date, and things that happen near it during the battles. Then we have background on Space Marine battle line units. These are the most sort of tactically flexible mainstay forces of the Space Marines. Over the page we have different types of battle line squads. We have the intercessor squads, a bit like our assault intercessors, but these are armed with longer range bolt rifles instead, and they can be equipped for a variety of battlefield roles. Then we've got heavy intercessor squads, which wear the heavier Gravis armour, although their role is much the same, but they're sort of the ultimate frontline troops. And infiltrator squads, which are more lightly equipped, but operate behind enemy lines and on long range missions, and they're highly self-sufficient. It also mentions the Astra Militarum here, which are the non-augmented human armies of the Imperium, formed of many millions of men and women. Then we have some detail on the ages of mankind, the things that happened before the Imperium of Man was founded. In the timeline we're currently in the 41st millennium, but it mentions here the Age of Terror, M1 to M15, not very much is known about that. Then the Age of Technology, beginning in around the 16th millennium, in which humanity's technology advanced greatly, and through the aid of things like the Navigator gene, they were able to expand across the stars. But around the 23rd millennium, the first human psychers began to appear, and within 1,000 years this led to a great catastrophe, thought to be caused by the proliferation of uncontrolled psychic power, and among other things, the humans' robotic servants turned on them and they fought great wars over this. And then over the page, the Age of Strife, which was the next 5,000 years or so, in which human colonies became isolated and fell to aliens or internal strife and all sorts of other horrors. This came to an end when the Emperor of Mankind united the tribes on Terra and launched the Great Crusade across the galaxy, but unfortunately that precipitated the Age of Darkness when his most favoured son, Horus, led half of the Imperial forces against him. Then we have the build guide for the Haemotrope Reactor. It comes in a number of parts, but they're all quite large and it's fairly easy to put together. That's what it looks like when it's finished. And then how to paint it, so an all-over coat of lead belcher and then a non-oil wash. It has the big Mechanicus cog symbol on it, half of which is painted Corax white and the other half Abaddon black, using Macragge blue for the blue energy glowing parts. And then corn red to paint these sort of pipes that come out of it in various details. Rune Lord brass to add a bit of variety to different metal areas. The same with Retributor armour. And then it suggests doing an all-over wash of Agrax Earthshade, also using it as a panel liner for the red sections with a recess wash and more non-oil on the white bit. And there it is, finally painted up. And it also mentions that in future guides we'll be receiving more brushes and more techniques, and we can return to this model at a later date to add even more detail. But that's it for the contents of our magazine, so now we'll be on to our game.
So we don't actually have any new rules to learn this week. Instead we just get a rules reference covering all of the phases in the battle round, although it does note we have more to learn about the command phase, but some things happen in it, like living metal and the raw one's adaptive strategy. But then over the next few pages we just have summaries of the other phases, so it goes over how movement works and coherency, the psychic phase and the shooting phase, different types of weapons, how the attack sequence works, that sort of thing. Everything we've seen to this point, just all in one issue. This is the morale phase and combat attrition, so just a fairly nice rules reference to have. So we can get into our game. Power struggle. The defense batteries and things on Tsiphos are powered by a network of Haemotrope reactors, and a Necron Technomancer has decided he wants to try and capture one, partially to hinder the Imperial defense, but also to use it for whatever sinister experiment he has planned, while a Tech-Priest Dominus wants to prevent that from happening, to stop the defences of Tsiphos being hindered, and also to stop any Imperial technology getting in the hands of the foul Xenos. So getting into the next scout mission, capture the reactor. The Necron forces consist of a Technomancer, 3 Canoptic Scarabs and 5 Necron Immortals. And then the Imperium has a Tech-Priest Dominus and 5 Assault Interceptors, so we actually have a mixed Imperial force this time. For a battlefield, we're on the blank side, of the one without any pre-printed terrain, with the 3-inch deployment zone across each short edge. We have an objective in the centre of the battlefield, with the Haemotrope Reactor 3 inches along the diagonal towards the top left, and a Moonswarm container 9 inches along the diagonal towards the bottom right. The Necrons begin deploying first, but the Imperium gets to take the first turn, and then we have a progressive objective to control the reactor. At the end of each player's turn, the player whose turn it is scores a victory point if they control the objective. The game will last for 5 battle rounds, and at the end of the battle, the player with the most victory points wins. So it's fairly simple. We'll set the board up and get straight into it. So here we are set up. You can see our objective in the centre there next to the Haemotrope Reactor. Over on the left I've got my Assault Intercessors with the Tech-Priest Dominus just behind. And then over on the right we have the Necrons.
We've got the Scarabs up at the top, the Technomancer in the middle and the Immortals closest to the camera.
And the Imperium get to go first, so we head into Imperial turn 1. So in my movement phase, the Assault Intercessors had advanced. They rolled a 5, and that gets them basically to the middle of the board. I could have moved up normally and shot, but only about 2 of them would have been in range, so it's not really worth it. And if I advance far enough, I'd be able to take the objectives. The Tech-Priest Dominus has moved up normally, so he can do some shooting with his Volkite Blaster, and this Intercessor here is hung back a bit, so he provides Lookout Sir to the Dominus. And that'll be it for the movement phase. On to the shooting phase, where the Dominus will shoot at the Immortals. So the Dominus has 3 shots with his Volkite Blaster, hitting on 3s because it's a heavy weapon and he moved, and no re-rolling 1s because he's not a core unit. 2 hits, wounding on 3s, hits strength 6, it's 2 wounds, oh and a 6, so that's 2 mortal wounds in addition to any damage it causes.
And then they have to take 2 saves at 3+. They've made, so only 2 mortal wounds, which will kill 2 Immortals though.
So yes, remember mortal wounds do carry over, whereas the 2 regular damage doesn't.
So that will kill 2 Immortals. I'll take them off the back and then we'll try and do reanimations. Needing 5s. Nope, and we don't get to reroll that one because they are not Necron Warriors.
Yep, so those Immortals are permanently dead. But that's all my shooting. No need for the Immortals to take a morale test because they're leadership 10. So at the end of my turn I hold the objective, so I gain a victory point. And then we're on to Necrons turn 1.
Nothing to do in my command phase, and then everybody's moved up. We're using the datasheet for the Technomancer from issue 18 because we don't have a more recent one, and he doesn't get his ability to automatically reanimate the Immortals yet, so which is unfortunate, but that's what we've got. So yeah, the Scarabs have moved up to hopefully contest the objective. But we'll do some shooting first. We'll start with the Immortals, obviously all shooting at the Assault Intercessors. 6 shots hitting on 3s, 4 hits, and wounding on 3s, 2 wounds with AP -2.
2 5+ saves. Ooh, made 1, so just 1 wound. I'll put it on this Assault Intercessor.
And then the Technomancer will shoot as well with his Staff of Light at the same unit. He has 3 shots hitting on 3s. He gets 1 hit, also wounds on a 3, which it does with the same AP.
5+ save. Nope, so that wounded Assault Intercessor will die. So this Assault Intercessor goes down.
And in the charge phase we'll declare a charge with the Scarabs on the Assault Intercessors, because if I don't do that then they'll charge me instead. The charge roll is a 7. And they will charge like that, and then we will charge in the Technomancer as well. So his charge roll is an 8. And he'll just go to there, getting within an inch. And then we'll be on to the combat phase. We'll fight with the Scarabs first. We've got 12 attacks, hitting on 4s, 6 is automatically wounded. Oh, get that one in the box. Okay, so we've got 1 automatic wound, and another 5 hits. Normal hits wound on 5s, another wound, so 2.
2 3+ saves. Made both.
And then the Technomancer will have a go. He only has 1 attack, which hits on a 3. It hits. It wounds on a 3, strength 5. No, it doesn't hit. Sorry, it wounds on a 4 because he's only strength 4, but it did wound.
-2 AP, so 5+ save. Nope. So, and the Assault Intercessor takes a wound. So I'll put the wound on this Assault Intercessor at the back, and then we're going to do some piling in. So they'll pile in like that, and then they'll put all their attacks on the Scarabs. 13 attacks from the Assault Intercessors, hitting on 3s, not rerolling 1s, because even though they're a core unit, they are not a Mars core unit, so the Dominus's aura does not affect them. 9 hits. And wounding on 3s. 5 wounds.
So that's 1 dead base, and a wound on another one, because they don't get any save against that. We will take away this Scarab base here, and then we'll get to roll to see if it comes back. Only comes back if I roll 4 5+. No.
So no morale test needing to be made, and the Necrons did not take the objective, so they don't score any victory points. So we're on to Imperium turn 2. So in my movement phase, the only movement is the Tech-Priest is moving up into the middle to contest the objective as well, and hopefully dig into some melee combat. The Assault Intercessors are going to stay where they are. Then we're on beyond the shooting phase. We'll do the Dominus first, and he's going to put both his guns into the Immortals. So we have 3 shots with the Volkite Blaster, hitting on 3s because he moves, getting 2 hits, and wounding on 3s. 6s do 2 more wounds. It's just a single wound.
With a 3+ save, which I've made.
And then the Phosphor Serpenter has 1 shot hitting on a 2. It hits, wounds on a 4 because it's strength 5. It does not wound. And then the Assault Intercessors are going to fire their pistols at the Scarab Swarms, and I'm not going to supercharge the Plasma Pistol. So I'll just do the Heavy Bolt Pistols first. 3 shots hitting on 3s, getting a single hit. Wounds on a 3, does not. A single Plasma Pistol shot hitting on a 3, missed. Now we're on to the charge phase where the Tech-Priest Dominus will charge the Technomancer. Probably anything's enough to get him in. 6 is definitely enough. So he's just going to go in like that. Don't want to get too far from the objective. And then since he charged, he gets to fight first. He'll put all of his attacks on the Technomancer. He has 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits, and wounding on 3s because he's strength 6 against toughness 4. Nothing.
Then, because it's a Space Marine turn, the opponent gets to go first, so the Scarabs will hit the Assault Intercessors. 8 attacks now, hitting all 4s, 6 is auto wound. We've got 2 automatic wounds and 3 more hits. Wounding on 5s, nothing more, which is just 2 wounds.
2 3+ saves. Made both. So now the Assault Intercessors will go and they'll attack the Scarabs. 13 attacks hitting on 3s. Ooh, getting 11 hits. And wounding on 3s. That's 7, which I think is enough to kill them.
Yeah, sorry, it actually did 5 wounds in the previous turn, so this Scarab base should have been wounded, so those 7 wounds are enough to destroy them.
And then the Assault Intercessors will consolidate towards the Technomancer, consolidate my position on the objective, but now the Technomancer gets to hit back.
And he'll hit the Assault Intercessors. 1 attack hitting on a 3, he missed.
And that's the end of the second Imperial turn. I still hold the objective, so I gain another victory point, going up to 2. And we're on to Necron's turn 2.
In my command phase, I don't have anything to do, there's nothing to repair or anything, so we'll just move like this. The Technomancer has fallen back, flew over the Intercessors, but he's still within 3 inches of the objective, and the Immortals have moved, and they're also all within 3 inches of the objective now. So then on to the shooting phase, where they'll shoot at the Assault Intercessors. 6 shots hitting on 3s, 4 hits, wounding on 3s, 4 wounds.
4 5+ saves. Oh, I made 3, blimey. So that wounded Assault Intercessor will die. So you have a man down, and that's it for Necron shooting.
And then the Immortals are going to declare a charge on the Assault Intercessors, because if I don't, I'm quickly going to fall behind on victory points. I have to kill an Assault Intercessor and try and claw something back. And I won't even roll it, all I wanted them to do is that, staying more than 3 inches away from the Tech-Priest Dominus. Immortals have 2 attacks each, and they hit on 3s. Well, 5 hit. Strength 4, so wounding on 4s. 3 wounds.
3+ saves. I made them all.
And they will just consolidate like this to try and tie down the Assault Intercessors a bit more.
And this guy might as well pile in over here, I suppose. But that will do, I won't go far enough to bring the Technomancer in. So we have 10 attacks on the Immortals, hitting on 3s. Only getting 6. Wounding on 5s, because they're beefier than warriors. Getting 1.
1 3+ armor save.
But you
Oh yeah, it's 4+, because they've got much one.
Well, no morale test needing to be made, and we have 4 models each on the objective, so the Necrons don't manage to gain a victory point. So we head into Imperium turn 3. So in my movement phase, the Tech-Priest Dominus is going to move closer to the Immortals, just so he can absolutely guarantee the charge. So in the shooting phase, the Intercessors will shoot their pistols. I'm not going to supercharge the Plasma Pistol. We have 2 Bolt Pistol shots hitting on 3s. Well, we forgot to load our guns today, they both miss. And the Plasma Pistol hits on 3, he hits. Wounds on a 3, it does, -3.
So 6 to save. Nope.
Does he get back up?
He does. Well, I was actually going to take this one away and bring him back over here.
Now the Dominus has nobody to shoot at, so we'll go straight to the charge phase where the Dominus will charge the Immortals. Oh yeah, 6 is easy enough. So the Dominus finishes his charge like that. Gets to go first because he charged, and obviously put his attacks in the Immortals. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, getting 2 wounds.
2 5+ saves, failed both.
Do those Immortals get back up?
No, they do not. These 2 will die permanently.
And then that one remaining Immortal gets to fight back.
Yeah, he's going to hit the Assault Intercessors. 2 attacks hitting on 3s. Get them in the box. They both hit. Wounding on 4s, 1 wound.
3+ save, failed. Does a wound. So that guy on the end will take a wound, and then some intercessors get to go. We'll just move around a bit so we can all get on the Immortal. 10 attacks on the Immortals, hitting on 3s. 6 again. Wounding on 5s. Getting 3.
3 4+ saves. I made 2, but he doesn't get back up because he's dead. Yeah, so that's the unit destroyed, so no reanimation.
I will consolidate into the Technomancer. He's probably just going to fly away, but it does stop him shooting, which is much more dangerous.
Well, yeah, but he does get his 1 attack back. He hits on a 3. He does. He wounds on 3. Oh, it's a wound.
5+ save. Oh, I made it. And that's the end of my turn. I still hold the objective and gain another victory point, bringing me up to 3.
Yeah, well, I'll concede the game there. We can definitely call that an Imperial victory, because with only 3 Necron turns to go, I would have to score on all 3 of them to get a draw, and to do that, the Technomancer would have to kill all 4 Imperial models, so there's no way I can win.
Yeah, if he falls back, he can't shoot, and if he stays in melee, he can kill at most 1 model. Yeah, so an Imperial victory, and we'll recap this game for you now. So that was the game for issue 27 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Not as well as it could have done, perhaps. Not sure if my tactic was the right one, but the problem with an objective game where I have to get into the middle is I have to get near the assault intercessors, who are a bit scary. I think if you hadn't killed 2 Immortals with your first round of shooting, I might have had a better chance of shooting them off the objective. At least doing enough damage to them that the Scarabs would have been able to take it, and I would have been able to get some points on the board.
Yeah, I think 2 mortal wounds on the Immortals, pretty fairly lucky to do that. And like there was one time where I think you did 4 wounds and I made 3 saves, so I got lucky a couple of times.
Yeah, probably so, but that's just how these games go sometimes. Maybe a better tactic actually would be to ignore the objective in the first turn and let you take it, sit at the back of the board, do some more shooting, and then try and make a break for it in the second turn.
Yeah, you basically use the Immortals to force me to come and get the Immortals, and then send the Scarabs and the Technomancer to gang up on the Tech-Priest.
Yes, I don't think those 2 units even together would be able to actually kill him, but there are more of them and they would outnumber him.
And he would take him a long while to get rid of them. I guess ideally you'd rather have warriors so you'd have the numbers.
Yeah, 10 warriors rather than 5 Immortals would probably actually be better in this game. We know Immortals are good against Space Marines, but 5 of them by themselves don't do a huge amount.
Yeah, and even in melee, they're still not really a match. You get more attacks and toughness 5, but I think they'd still lose out eventually.
Well, indeed, charging the Assault Intercessors was kind of desperation. I had to try and kill one and get a point on the board, otherwise I'd lost the game instantly anyway. It was all I could do. And the Scarabs just aren't actually a frontline combat unit. They can't dish out the damage. They're useful for a number of things, but throwing them in desperation into an objective to try and take it from a better unit is not really good.
Yeah, and I think also I got a decent advance throw enough to get me on the objective, whereas if I hadn't, your Scarabs would easily be able to take it in the first turn. And then I guess they'd be reversed, because it's easier to hold an objective once you have it than to take it off.
Yes, and if you hadn't got onto your objective, as you say, I could have sent the Scarabs forward, got a victory point, left the Immortals at the back of the board shooting, and then you would have charged the Scarabs and maybe taken the objective, but then the Immortals would have been in place to shoot you again.
I might not have had enough Assault Intercessors left to contest it.
And the Technomancer has the ability to repair damaged Scarab swarms as well, so we didn't actually get to see that in this game, because the one time it was damaged, I didn't have a movement phase in the interim.
Yeah, and that specific Technomancer has an ability to bring stuff back that you mentioned. We didn't get any profile for him. I did check after that. We haven't seen him since issue 18 or wherever, so...
Yeah, that's the only data sheet we have for him, and it doesn't list that ability, unfortunately. Briefly, it just lets you automatically reanimate a D3 core unit, so I would have been able to possibly bring back those 2 Immortals who died. Would have been quite handy, but...
Yeah. And I suppose also just mention this is the first time we've had a mixed Imperial force. Not sure if you can technically do that, certainly not in match play. They do share faction keywords with Imperium, but I'm not sure if you're actually allowed to do that. But this is all narrative play, so it doesn't matter. I guess it also shows how having mixed forces isn't necessarily a good idea, because the Dominus' aura doesn't benefit Assault Intercessors. So he's just kind of there to shoot at things. I guess he's better at shooting than the other Space Marine heroes, I suppose.
He's also more than a match for the Technomancer in melee.
And also the Haemotrope Reactor. I do like the Haemotrope Reactor. It's a really cool looking terrain piece. Something very 40k with a big Mechanicus skull on the front. I also like that it's quite tall. It's tall enough that you can hide larger units. You could hide the Technomancer behind it, for instance. And it's useful to have line of sight blocking terrain, especially with armies that are very shooty. Basically, you just want terrain so that shooty armies can't shoot each other off the board really quickly. And so melee-based armies can actually get into range without getting cut to bits. And also, I guess the Haemotrope Reactor is the kind of terrain piece that you could probably fit on any type of board, because you can probably imagine any planet, even heavily jungle planets. You could probably imagine a Haemotrope Reactor somewhere in the jungle. That's the sort of thing Imperium does. The Minotaurium containers as well, actually, basically fit them on any style of board.
And actually, it basically said that in its lore section, really, that they're ubiquitous, found across the Imperium and powering all sorts of things. And they do tell you to paint all the tiny little intricate details, which is how you've done it, because it has a huge number of little wires and things all over it.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail, dials and cables.
You don't always have to do that with terrain if you don't want to. You could probably miss out some of the little details.
You could easily get away with just painting it all silver. You don't even have to paint the skull black and white if you don't want to. And just paint all the little energy bits black so it looks like it's turned off or something. Not sure if you get 2 with the magazine, but I think they do come as 2 as a pair, and that would still be better value for money.
I don't remember off the top of my head what a pair of Haemotrope Reactors costs, but this is definitely good value for a terrain issue.
Well, I don't think there's too much more to say about this game or this issue. So as always, if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. If you've been getting Imperium, tell us how you've been getting on, especially if you're in a country outside the UK. It'd be interesting to see what issue you're up to. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.